see the behaviour of plants as they struggle to survive presented a unique challenge. The plants team had to employ many techniques, including time-lapse and high-speed photography. They filmed in jungles, deserts, swamps and plains, but they also spent many hours shooting in a converted barn just outside Exeter. All under the watchful eye of green-fingered cameraman Tim Shepherd. Filming plants in time-lapse takes so long and is so susceptible to changes in light levels and weather conditions that some key sequences had to be filmed in this studio. In time-lapse, a camera takes a series of pictures over an extended period of time, so when played back, the action appears speeded up. These sunflowers actually take 3 days to open, but are seen opening in a matter of seconds. The most complex time-lapse the team attempted showed an entire growing season in an English woodland in one continuous shot, a shot that took 2 years to create. As the producer, Neil Lucas, leads Tim and Mick Conner, the graphic designer, out to the location, he explains his idea.
Well, this is the one that I thought. Which is just here. Because I think that would be great to have the brambles growing along.
It will be a tracking shot through the wood, with plants growing, flowers blooming, and the woodland coming to life over the course of a year.
Yeah. Yeah. We're condensing that 1 year down into less than a minute. We're going to have them all coming out at the same time. And that's going to be multiple passes, isn't it?
How long does a foxglove take to grow?
Well, if we start with just before the bud's about to open, and you've got the whole long spike, from top to bottom, that's probably about 3 weeks.
So even if you wanted to, you couldn't shoot the plants actually here because, I mean, 3 weeks, the weather's going to change, you got the day-night, and also just leaving the equipment here running. It's not feasible, is it?
You just have to imagine the changes that would happen here in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And if that was all joined together,
yeah.
and one frame, the plant might be there, and you take a shot of it an hour later, and if the wind's blowing, it's over here somewhere, and then you join those two shots together.
So what we've got to do is not only have we got to produce a move that is exactly the same, repeatable move, a track that can be built exactly the same again in a studio.
Yeah.
Build exact models of every object in here so we can put plants in the right places, and then time everything so they grow just as the camera happens to be pointing at them.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
The scale of the challenge is dawning on them. Months of planning lie ahead.
Oh, wow. Big black slug.
The following spring, the team head back to the wood. With no road access, manpower is the only way to get the tons of equipment into position. Everyone's wondering how this will turn out, including the locals.
Go up about an inch.
Straight round. Start like that. Position now is 221556. That's...
Do you want to do it here?
No.
Then how do we do it then?
That has pulled it. Hang on. It's pulled it terribly.
That's that.
No, it's pulled this wheel round.
2 days of building, levelling, test runs, and even a few minor disasters. And finally, the track is ready to run.
Okay, that's pretty close. If you move your Can you see that little bit of light?
Go to 8,900.
Accuracy is paramount.
Yeah, I mean, whatever we shoot in the studio, that it's got to match this landscape exactly. So unless we know precisely where everything is relative to the camera, there's no way of placing the plants in the studio in the right place. So we have to measure the hell out of it.
Oh, bloody hell, it's spot on, look at that.
So 250. Okay.
Shot by shot and step by step, the camera inches its way back up the 30-metre track.
Well, that's working.
This is only the background shot. There is still a huge amount of other filming to be done. The track has to be rebuilt exactly as it is on location back in the studio, a task that will take weeks to get right.
Tree at the end of the rock.
Using the detailed measurements taken in the wood, the position, size and shape of every structure has to be matched precisely.
1.30.
35.
Minus 35, yeah.
The slightest discrepancy will put the team back to square one. Chicken wire and polystyrene form the rocks and trees of the woodland. Blue screen is used to cover every inch of the set to allow the original shot to be mapped on later in graphics. Once built and with the plants placed in their exact locations, filming can start. The stars of the show finally make an appearance. Timing is everything. With each plant taking up to 3 weeks to flower, there's only one chance of getting it right. A year later, and thankfully, so far, all had gone to plan. The final stage is to bring all the pieces together seamlessly, a challenging task for any graphic designer.
We've got things overlapping that wouldn't necessarily grow at the same time, but all the growth of each individual plant is absolutely accurate. It's exactly what they would do. We've just seen it in a shorter space of time. That big rock in the foreground at the end of the shot that we wanted to try and get stuff climbing along, well, that's worked really, really well. This is the bramble pass here. I had to measure it so carefully so we knew exactly where these things were, how round they were, how deep they were from the camera. And then when we take the blue out of that, you can see that the plants start to sit into the shot exactly where we wanted them to be. Things appearing from behind the tree, crawling on the top of the rock.
It's fantastic.
So here they go, and if I switch those off, you can see how neatly they slot into the shot. And if we play it, you can see that everything's sticking in pretty well.
96 layers, 15 tracks, and 2 years later, the shot is finally complete. A 60-second shot that proved to be one of the most complex ever attempted in natural history filmmaking.